Hi guys and gals, and welcome back to another Working No Game video. Today's video is dedicated to some Dorothy Hype, ways to increase your points via invaders, and lastly, why I play SINo. So let's jump right into it. So, first thing we gotta cover is this tweet in particular, released on September 20th, which is yesterday, by the way. And they tweeted out, this nurse helping a soldier, robotic arm, and this robed Dorothy, right? So if you look right here at Dorothy, she has this, nurse helping the soldier home, and then she has a half robe going on with a robotic arm. And if you don't know it, this is Tome Dorothy, which is supposed to release with Active Hatred, Book of Dorothy, Chapter 1-1. So, Active Hatred is the second act that releases, so you have to have it unlocked. But essentially, this is the Dorothy that's supposed to be scheduled to be released for free. So whenever they plan on Dorothy, or plan on dropping Dorothy, which is hopefully somewhat tonight, then we will be hopefully getting this one for free. We don't know yet, I'm not making any promises, but I'm just making speculations based off of the information they release. And if you're wondering, this is the same exact Dorothy that is based off of Wizard of Oz. The voice actor for Dorothy is the same VA for Megumin from Konosuba. So if you go up here, this is the second thing that they tweeted, and this was actually released today, alright, 7 hours ago. This syringe right here is going to be Dorothy Gunner. It looks exactly the same. Looking at that information right there, Dorothy Gunner is actually going to be a welcome addition. She provides 700 magical defense at level 12. Her character art looks amazing. Her sprite work looks amazing. Overall, can't wait to have her, come home. She's probably going to be the banner unit. I'm not going to cover anything else because this is the only information they released on Twitter. And of course, this is all based off of speculation. And of course, they're also releasing some new stamps based off of Dorothy. These look absolutely amazing. So the next thing we gotta cover is if you go into story, and then within story, go into events, and then events, go into the Space Invaders event. And we're going to be talking about the item / nightmare that's going to be the best thing to get. Out of this entire Invader shop, you need to pick up the UFO. And the reason why is because of his ability right here, increases the effectiveness of fire weapon skills. This is actually a fantastic weapon for supports. He's a fantastic free-to-play nightmare. He has 4,944 at max limit break. You can see right here that I've already bought like 3 UFOs. So once I max limit break him, he's going to have 4,944 stats. Absolutely amazing. I highly recommend picking him up and totally using him. I'm going to be using him. Now, there are other nightmares that's going to be releasing and paid versions, etc, etc. But just know it's going to be a while until these folks release. And pretty much the thing is like the paid versions, you're not going to get these if you're free to play. And this is the Iron Chains of Petals Riley. This is pretty much going to be the gacha version of the UFO. Just note that this technically released like a year or so in advance, so his relevancy will remain for quite some time, just like how Shadow Lord is absolutely amazing. So let's talk about why I essentially play SINo, what's the pizzazz behind it. Because as we all know, SINo is a very grindy game. It's not really a game that you kind of just play, right? You don't play this casually in the beginning. It gets more casual in the late game. And I played a lot of, gachas in my time. I've played Epic 7, Romancing Saga, Another Eden, 7 Deadly Sins, Brown Dust, FGO, Grand Blue, FFB, One Piece Treasure Cruise, Arknights, Evertale, Grand Chase, Pokemon Masters, Soul Arc Season 2, Air of Light, Aurora Legend, Dawn Memo, Grand Summers, Langrisser, Destiny Child, Alchemist Code, Fit, Dragalia Lost, Distadia, Final Fantasy Opera, Omnia, Brave Frontier, Azure Lane, Food Fantasy, Knights Chronicle, Dragon Ball Legend, Video Game Guardians, Lord of Dice, Idle Heroes, AFK Arena, King's Raid, Digimon Links, Battlejack, Sword Art Online, all the different gachas, Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, Rage Shadow Legends, and Summoner's Ward. I've played even more gachas than the ones I've listed, and let me tell you, SINo has something special in the form of GVG. You guys already know Coliseum, matters a lot, and this is the thing that makes SINo different. The reason why it's different is because you actually have to communicate with your guild, you actually have to talk to players, the community is very active, etc, etc. Most gacha games are very single player based. You just collect a hero, you have a squad of heroes, and you don't really talk with the community as much. You might compare tier lists, you might compare builds, but it's nothing to the extent of where SINo is like, hey, you have to play this particular role and you have to do it. SINo is more close to like an old school like MMORPG, something similar to like WoW, something similar to like Ragnarok, like all those different games where you have to play a certain class in order to be effective. And that's what makes SINo special, is because you can't play this game as a pure solo. And if you do, you know, good job, because you are doing something that I don't even think is possible. It has all of these things coming towards it, which makes it a more community-based game than any other gacha on the platform right now. Now the thing is SINo isn't that special in the sense of, you know, gacha rates. You know, these rates are pretty, you know, not the greatest, especially if it's not a step-up banner. If it's a normal banner, like this 10 treasure chest event, like it, you know, this 10 banner is like absolutely like difficult to pull on. You know, step-up banners, you know, they're expensive because it's 1200 gems. But the thing is, it's better than nothing. And let's do our free daily grimoire for the day. I wish this had some sort of indicator to tell us, you know, hey, you haven't done your free grimoire for the day. It's really helpful if we have like these small little UI features to make the game just a little bit better. But overall, I hope they add these things. SINo isn't a perfect game, alright? It's not the game of the year, and it didn't live up to the hype. It's a game that I fell in love with, not I fell in love with at first glance, right? It's one of those things that it's either going to hook you or it's not going to hook you. It's one of those games where it's like you want to play it because of the community, not because of like pure gameplay, right? Because the community is really strong with SINo in the sense of you really get to meet people, you really get to make friends. Like, there's no gacha where I have to talk to people. No offense, there's no other gacha that I actually have to get on voice chat and be like, you are going to do this and this is your specific role and that's what you're going to do. Pretty much, you know, like Little Mermaid going, you can't tell me what to do, and I'll just be like, come on, you can do it. I've never seen Red Riding Hood so happy. But anyways, like, there's so many quirks to SINo. And I know it's like a grindy game. There's a lot of bugs, and let's talk about some of the bugs right now. You know, if you go into story and you play like a certain event that's happening, and let's say I wear like, you know, my Space Invaders armor set, then I'm going to be wearing this set into Calo. Can you please fix that? I don't want to wear my Space Invaders Calo like set. I want to wear my Calo set in particular. That's a bug that's currently occurring. You know, there was multiple Calos the other day, people weren't prepared for it. You know, it's just like these little things that can get a little bit annoying. And of course, as you know, like, you know, SINoALICE is you know, pay to win. And the thing is every gacha is pay to win if it has some sort of player versus player, or you're pitting players against players. You're competing against people in some way where there's a ranking system, then technically the game's going to be pay to win, because, you know, these games need to make money. If you want SINo to be a free-to-play game, eventually it'll get there. In JP, it's much more free-to-play. They get like, you know, something like 3,000 plus crystals every single month. But that game's been released for like 2 or 3 years. This game's been out for like 2.5 months. So it's really difficult to compare a game, you know, that's 2 or 3 years in advance compared to a game that's been out for a couple months. It's not even a 6-month anniversary yet. So hopefully we'll get there within the 6 months. I know they planned out a plethora of updates to version 5.0, you know. Also, I love the transparency of the SINo team, you know, the broadcast event that released in particular, like, you know, with Serafina, with Stephanie, with Blasphemous Waffle, with, you know, Kat, one of the producers of the game for Global. You know, they did a fantastic job. I really like Kat and his transparency. You know, he even addressed like the free Brandon comment on Discord, which is just like absolutely like bonkers. Like, as a game producer, he can completely ignore a question like that, but he chose to actually address it and ask Blasphemous Waffle like, hey, is this dude still banned? And yes, he's still banned. Anyways, I think we have a real gem in the works, you know, for SINoALICE, just because of the way the IP is pretty much handled from a professional standpoint. I haven't seen anyone really do broadcasts for their game like the way they did live. The only other companies that I've seen done that is like, you know, Epic 7, games that come from Nintendo, games that come from like Cygames. Only huge IPs can handle like broadcast events, live events. You know, so they definitely have a lot at stake at SINo. They're definitely investing a lot of money into this game. And of course, I know there's like talks of like, you know, top guilds breaking up. we'll cover that in a separate, topic. I'm actually going to be collabing with Tachi, Fort Misery Gaming, Spoot and Fort, and lastly Demic on a stream that Demic is going to be hosting. So, feel free to come hang out with us there on Wednesday. We're going to talk about the game, pretty much the state of the game. I'm not really one to be negative, but I will share my thoughts on topics where I feel like it needs to be addressed, like some of the bugs that are currently occurring. They definitely need to be addressed. They already talked about how they're aware of those bugs in the notice, so I'm pretty sure they'll get there. But anyways, that's it for this video. That's, Dorothy, I covered her, get UFO, and pretty much my thoughts on SINoALICE play. Anyways, that's it for this video. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter, and I will see you in the next one.